Live from the 4 Points by Sheridan in downtown Tallahassee. This is a WTXL ABC 27 special presentation. You're watching the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. Brought to you in part by the following sponsors. The Gem Collection, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Pizza Hut, Doorstep Delivery, Awards for You, Tallahassee Board of Realtors, Tallahassee Eye Center, Napleton Infinity, Benson's Heating and Air, Tallahassee Community College, Cars, Trucks, and Credit, Dunkin' Donuts, and Ramjack. And now, here's the voice of the Seminoles, Gene Deckerhoff, and head coach Jimbo Fisher.
Hello, and welcome to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show from the Sheridan 4 Points in downtown Tallahassee. And we're here to talk football tonight with head coach Jimbo Fisher. And, Coach, we go up to Atlanta, and we just 5 seconds. The game lasted 5 seconds too long. Or maybe not 5 seconds long enough. I don't know what happened that last 5 seconds.
It was in between. But, you know, everybody you always concentrate on the end of it, which, you know, that's when the last play. But there's a lot of things during the game that, you know, you could have did better that doesn't put you in that position. That's what we talk about all the time. If you keep putting yourself in bad positions, you know, sometimes it doesn't always come out your way. And, you know, the other day was something that I've never had happen. I've never seen happen. And but, you know, it's part of college football. And I said in the last 3 years there's been 3 plays, the Michigan play, the Alabama play, and our play, that I've never been a part of or seen at the last play of a game. But that's why you got to play the whistle. I mean, we just unfortunately got the kick blocked, and they made a great recovery. But there's a lot of other mistakes in the game, but a lot of good things. I mean, there was a lot of good things in the game. There were some things that we got to get fixed, and you know, one play away. But we got to play better, and hopefully we'll have a good week of practice, which I think we have this week.
And, Coach, it looked like you know, we played these guys a year ago in the championship game, and they just ran. We couldn't stop that option. This year we stopped that option, except for maybe one breakout play the quarterback had.
Exactly right. They had 2 big plays right before half, and we had them backed up. Hit a long pass on a scramble. It was a heck of a play by the quarterback and a big run. We thought we had him tackled. We had a missed tackle on that one. But, you know, our defense did a tremendous up front, boy. I mean, just taking on blockers, filling gaps, guys spilling over the top, playing very disciplined in the game. I mean, I thought we played a really, really, really good defensive football game.
Let's see, Coach, by my math, and I can only count 10 at a time, we've won 35 of our last 37 games. That's a pretty good row, huh?
Yeah.
So we lose a game in Atlanta to a good football team, a team much better than their record, and we lose on a play like that one, the Auburn, Alabama game, the Michigan State, and now Florida State, Georgia Tech, going to be part of that litany for a long time. Do you remember that play?
I could live without that. But you're right. But it is. I mean, it's just part of it. And, you know, and you play ball long enough. And some people say, what? You know something? It's ball. You play ball long enough, things happen. And you have to be prepared for everything that happens. And that's why you don't put yourself in that position, or you got to execute just a little bit better.
And that is just the 7th game. We have 5 more regular season games to go, and a chance, if we take care of our business, to play in that championship game. That's
our ultimate goal. That's our ultimate goal is the national championship. We always want to win an SEC championship, get in the playoff. I mean, ACC championship, excuse me.
Yeah.
And SEC too. You win them both. You win the national championship. You win them both. But you know, you want to be there. But the thing we got to do is get better. What we have to do is that's our goal. But I mean, you can't focus on winning so much that you forget. And I say this all the time. It's about the process. It's about how if you do things right, you get the results you want. And that's what we have to focus on. And, you know, sometimes when you've had so much success, sometimes you got to forget. And we remind our guys every day, but sometimes you have to learn a hard lesson. So hopefully we've learned that lesson, and we'll get back to this. But, you know, before we get going, I know I've got something I want to say today too. You know, that Georgia Tech game was a memorable game. We all going to remember it. Well, we're going to remember it for another reason too. You know, that was Gene's 450th football broadcast for Florida State. Y'all realize that?
Wow, Coach, you got that memo too, huh?
Yeah, I got that memo too. You know that. You know, and we have a little cake right here for Gene. 450. Look at that, buddy. Congratulations. That's an unbelievable amount of Florida State football right there now.
Who baked this cake?
Who
baked this cake?
You think of the memories in that cake right there. Think of all the memories and what Gene has seen, and and the history of this game and of this university, what's been done on the football field, that's amazing. 450 games.
And, Jimbo, game 450 will always be remembered as the wide block one. There better not be
No, just a wide block. We're done with one. We ain't doing two.
Why? There better not be.
We're done with two.
Thank you. Here, take a picture of that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Jimbo, did you bake this?
I did. I baked that. I did it all day. I wasn't in practice.
Thank you. We'll share this tonight. I can't eat that cake. I'll eat my piece. Okay. Wow. I'm at a loss for words here, Coach.
Well, that was an amazing deal. I mean, what you've meant to Florida State and then what you've seen and the people that have listened and how many people can relate to the great times in their life to your voice. It's amazing.
We've had some great ones.
Really
Let's hope they have. We got plenty more great ones coming. Coach, wow, you ready to talk some football?
Let's go.
Guess who's first? Mike from Jacksonville. Mike, you're on the air with Jimbo Fisher. Go ahead.
Touchdown, Florida State. Hey, gentlemen, listen, congratulations, Gene. I think I probably listened to every 450 that you did. So,
have you, Mike? Seriously, how many of those have you missed? How many of those would you have missed?
I don't think I missed any of them.
I would bet you wouldn't have.
I don't think I missed any of them. I'm at the hospital tonight. I've got a new grandson that came into the world today.
Congratulations.
So
that's what it's about, big guy.
I'm going to ask a question tonight, and I hope that you'll leave me on long enough to hear the response and then let me go because I'm not near a radio. Coach, I want to get to the defense. I'm very happy about the defense. They get us helmet sticker for me. 3 field goals and 1 rushing touchdown is what we gave up to them. And I take the rushing because they were 8th in the country. Now, my question, Coach, is you talked about our red zone and leaving some points out there, and I'm assuming that's the red zone. And here's the stat of the week. They're 103 in the country in defending the red zone. Syracuse is. So I think we're going to be in good shape there, maybe get back on track. And my question is we've had a couple of these return kicks back, Alabama and us. My question is, how do you coach and practice for that when it does happen? Because I'm looking, and it seems like when that happens, we should stay still instead of going after the ball. That's where we get messed up. Everybody goes to the ball, and that guy just runs around everybody. And I looked at the Alabama, and about the same thing happened. So I'd like to hear your response on how you practice for that.
We do practice for that. I always joked about it. That's when Roberto hit that 164-yarder in practice. We were practicing kicking long field goals and having a guy back catching it like happened in the Alabama-Auburn game and running it back, and how you disperse throughout the field and have your 2 ends overlap, and then your kicker and your punter have to do it. Because now the one thing about those big linemen, they've got to take up space because most of them have a hard time tackling in space because they're offensive linemen. You say, well, why do you put those on there? Well, if you don't, you get the kicks blocked because of the surge inside. If you watched in our game, which is a little bit different than what happened in that game because it was a block kick. A block kick is harder to identify because you got to find where the ball goes than if a guy's kicked deep. But the thing about it is, what happened in our game, they tried to block it. So the left side dispersed and went out and had a pretty good, we say, as they spread it out to get in their lanes. The right side got knocked down because that was where they tried to block the kick. So that every time, whatever side the block side is, people get just, there's a wad of people. It's a very, it's actually dangerous. You get more injuries on offensive linemen there a lot of times you do anywhere, believe it or not. By the time they got up, they dispersed out. But we practiced kicking it, dispersing out, guys in lanes, trying to get over the top. But at the end of the day, you get a good athlete on a bad athlete. But that's why we have the 2 ends, Giorgio and Izzo, try to be bigger, longer, athletic guys that can play in space. And our punter, Roberto, is actually an excellent athlete, and Kaysen's an excellent athlete. They just got a convoy of blockers. What happens rarely on a block kick, like in our game, they got a convoy of blockers, and the way it got set up, which usually doesn't happen. That can happen on a deep kick, but usually not on a kick that's blocked. But we work on that. You don't do it a bunch. You do it 3 or 4 times, 5 times. You make sure everybody knows the rules, and you don't plan on getting one blocked. I mean, the longer ones you work on, you don't plan on getting one blocked, and we happen to kick that one just a hair low, and they got it.
And that was with no time left, that the Georgia Tech scores the win. Mike, thanks for your telephone. Congratulations on a brand-new grandson.
Yes, exactly right.
Mike,
that's awesome.
That's Mike the third from Jacksonville. Touchdown, Florida State. FSU radio broadcasts are now available for free on your mobile device. Download the FSU Game Day app from the App Store or Google Play. The FSU Game Day app is presented by Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow, a pedestrian and bicycle safety initiative funded by the Florida Department of Transportation. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from the 4 Points by Sheraton, will continue after these messages.
You're watching the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. Have a question for the coach? Call 877-996-6537 now. That's 877-99-KNOWLES.
Back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. We originate our program downtown Tallahassee at 4 Points by Sheraton. If you're in the area on Wednesdays, come on by. If you'd like to connect with a coach, 1-877-99-KNOWLES, 1-877-996-6537. And for those of you who tweet a lot, you can do hashtag Jimbo to connect. Bubba from Tallahassee's on the telephone. And Bubba, you are on the air with Jimbo. You're next. Go ahead.
No Bubba?
No Bubba.
I miss Bubba.
Bubba. Call back, Bubba. Al is in Orlando. Al, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Fine, Al. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay, thanks. if you could give a shout-out to my daughter, Sophia. She's listening on the radio and doesn't feel good tonight, but maybe a Go Noel, Sophia, from you would help.
I would be honored to. Go Noel, Sophia. I hope you feel better, dear.
There you go,
Thank
Al.
you. Now I have a quick question for you.
All right.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I appreciate that. My question is this. Forgive me if I'm using the wrong terminology, but the slip screen, maybe the Dalvin Cook out of the backfield, you ran the ball, you ran that play twice, I think, in the Georgia Tech game, and it was very effective down the middle of the field. Do you plan on maybe throwing the ball more to Dalvin or getting him out of the backfield? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, well, we do. If you have gone back, he's caught probably between 3 and 5, maybe up to 6 balls a game, every game this year. Some designed, he was a primary, sometimes it was a check down. But Dalvin's a very diverse player, and sometimes it's easier to not block everybody and get it to him than do that. But he has made a lot of catches and has, I think, about 180, 190 yards receiving on the year already. Gets about anywhere from 30 to 50 yards a game. So we get him the ball in that area a lot. He's very good out of the backfield, and yes, we do. I mean, we'll always try to get it to him any way we possibly can.
Al calling from Orlando, and he called it a slip screen. I've referred to it as a middle screen. Is it one? Is it?
Yeah, they're all in their first cousins.
Yeah.
It was a middle screen. It was a little middle screen delay that released the lineman up through, and but it was very effective for us.
Nice play, Al. Thanks for your telephone call. Get well, Sophia. Let's talk to Bill in Tampa. Go ahead, Bill. You're on the air with Jimbo.
Good evening, Coach and Gene. Congratulations on 450, Gene, and let's hope it's another 450 more.
That's exactly right.
And good luck Saturday against Syracuse, Coach.
Thank you, Bill.
As I understand it, Julian Wiggum, who is a Syracuse player, is greatly annoyed by the war chant, so let's hope he hears it loudly and all game long on Saturday. One question for you. The offensive line has struggled lately with the false start.
Yes.
Is it more than just mental focus that can cause that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can have a false key in the cadence of what you're giving, or sometimes guys on the other side, I mean, they'll yell cadence up front when people know it. I mean, the defensive line, they're not allowed to do it, but it happens all the time, too. They catch them and can say they're doing it. And some of it is it's focus, and then a little bit of it's just wanting to do too well, too bad, and just knowing your assignment. You know, when you know something so bad and you want to do it, and just not having the poise to stay in there. It's not because they don't want to, but, you know, it's something that we have to get fixed. And usually sometimes that'll happen on the road, but the last two, it's happened at home and on the road the last 2 weeks, which is very rare. And we had a few early, but we hadn't had them like this. So we've got to get that fixed. We've worked on it very hard this week, so hopefully we'll get that fixed. But that's a problem. That was a problem in that game. It cost us 2 or 3 different times in that football game.
Okay, Bill. Thanks for the telephone call, and I think Julian Wiggum's going to hear that war chant frequently.
You know, he's
on
a young
Saturday.
man. He's a young
he's
man.
from Miami.
Nah, Wiggum, he's the one from West Palm. If I'm not
West
mistaken,
Palm,
that's
right.
number one.
West Palm,
number
yes,
one?
West Palm Beach.
If I'm not
Dwyer
mistaken,
High
he was
School.
a young man that got hit in our game 2 years ago here. He got hit in the stomach and had to go to the hospital. And we were very scared. We went over and saw him and had the big injury and had to have the surgery and everything and had to stay here with his team, which was very scary. His parents came up, but glad he's doing well.
Yeah, he's still wearing number 1, and I saw that when I was coming in. I saw the little note made the sports page. You know, he does not like the war chant. It's Parents' Weekend. We're going to get the war chant going, aren't we? Bill, thanks for your call. We'll have more phone calls coming up. If you have a question here in our studio audience, come forward and grab the microphone. Diane, you going to do that today? Okay, the microphone is in the same spot. Knowles fans, you can win a VIP experience at KnowlesContest.com, brought to you by Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from the 4 Points by Sheridan, will continue after these messages.
Welcome back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from downtown at the 4 Points Sheraton. Once again, Gene Deckerhoff and head coach Jimbo Fisher.
Back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show from the 4 Points by Sheraton, downtown Tallahassee. 1-877-99-KNOLES is the toll-free number. It is time now for the Ask the Coach segment presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Your home for the right stuff, the low price every day, Academy Sports. And this question is from Babs from Tallahassee. And here's the question, Coach. Do your players watch this show or any of your interviews and hear what you say?
I'm sure they hear the interviews printed or, hear that. I don't know if they watch the show. I could not answer that. I have never asked them, and they probably hear enough of me during the day and during practice that last thing I want to do is go home and listen to me right now. But they find out what you say. If you say something about them, good or bad, they're going to figure it out. I promise you that.
Especially in this day of instant communications, Everybody,
you don't have to.
Did you hear what Coach just said?
Yeah, is that on Twitter or Vine? Or what do you got? Vine, Twitter, whatever that is.
Instagram. Okay.
I'm lost on that stuff. I am.
If you have a question for the coach, submit your questions for the coach on Twitter and use hashtag Jimbo or click on the Ask the Coach button located on Seminoles.com. Our Ask the Coach segment presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And we have a question from a member of our audience, and he's all decked out for the game, Coach. We're at number 35. Go ahead, son. You're on the air.
I have a two-part question. What kind of grades do the players have to get to play on the team?
Okay.
And what happens if they get a bad grade? Do they still get to play?
They have to keep a 2.0 GPA overall. Now, to get in here, they have to have a 2.5 in their core and have at least a 17 or a 48, 60. I can't believe what it is on the SAT to get into school. But then they have to keep a 2.0 and stay above that all the time. Yes, and they do get, if they drop below certain grade point average, they become ineligible. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
There's your answer.
To make their grades.
That's a good. How are your grades? Pretty good.
Well, today I got my report card today, and I got 4 A's and 3 B's.
How about that? Thank you very much for your question. Congratulations, 4 A's and 3 B's. I wish those Deckerhoff boys had grades like that. Good golly.
But whose genes do they have, Gene?
Wow, Gene's genes.
Gene's genes.
Dylan is in Tallahassee. Go ahead, Dylan. You're on the air with Jimbo.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. Just a quick question for you about the defensive side of the ball. Derwin James has emerged to be a great, fantastic player so far in his freshman year. Should we expect to see number 3 starting at the safety position from here on out for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he pretty much did. He did last week and has for a while. I mean, he's been our ones for a while. He's doing really good and playing really well and getting better and better each week. The thing about him too, everybody, his great ability. But I'm gonna tell you what he is. He's a very, very intelligent guy, very smart guy, and works at it. Football means a lot to him, and he works. It's not just pure ability he's playing with either. Great kid.
Derwin James wears number 3, and I believe that was his second consecutive start. He started, I think, Louisville and then secondly. And at the safety position. From hiking and biking to dining and dancing, Tallahassee has plenty to offer before and after every FSU home game. When planning your next trip, check out visitallahassee.com. Soon you'll be saying, I heart Tally 2. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from the 4 Points by Sheraton, will continue after these messages.
You're watching the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show on WTXL ABC 27. Now, here's the voice of the Seminoles, Gene Deckerhoff, and head coach, Jimbo Fisher.
On a Wednesday night, we're talking Florida State football. That's why you have found us on your radio and then locally on ABC 27 on our flagship station, The Wolf 103.1. We've had a number of callers already from Jacksonville, Tampa. We've had some questions from our studio audience, and we're going to get to Diane in just a minute. But first, we have to take a look at our Gym collection, Gym stat of the week. Coach, ready for this stat? This is a pretty interesting one here. Kermit Whitfield leads FSU in receptions and receiving yards this season, and his 172 receiving performance against Louisville in our last home game is the most by an ACC receiver in a game this year. Kermit also leads the ACC in kick return average at 30 yards per kick return. Coach, those are some pretty impressive statistics for this young junior that's
really
all of a sudden found his position.
He's learning to play without the ball, and when he gets the ball in his hand, he's very dynamic. He's playing much faster because he's knowing what to do and how to do it, and we know it. And many times we can get him to touch it. That's a good thing. That's why we do a lot of those. People say keep handing it down, but sometimes we like throwing it out there on those little screens and get that ball in his hands, just like a running play out wide. He does a dynamic job with it.
Kermit Whitfield, 35 catches, 458 yards. Coach, last year he had 11 catches in the entire season.
He's worked very hard in the offseason. Everything he's getting, he's earned.
The Gym Collection, specializing in the finest jewelry and service in Tallahassee since 1977. That is our Gym Collection Gym stat of the week. Now, you're on the air, Diane. Go ahead.
Okay. This is a question for the offense. I know two players can't be in motion at the same time, but if, say, the tight end goes in motion and he gets set, if there's enough time left on the clock, can another receiver go in motion or a back?
Yes, we do. I mean, you stem or trade a tight end, and you can bring a zing motion. You have to motion with the receiver right there, the guy that's off the ball, the flanker. But yes, you just so they both now they can both shift. You can make a shift call before everybody gets set and make a shift. And a bunch of them, 4 of them, 5 of them can move at once. But once they get set, then they shift. And only one can go at a time.
Right. Okay. Everybody asked me about this 5280, and some people can figure it out. But it's the Mile High Stadium. It's the Seminole Club of Denver.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And my daughter is a member of that.
Wow.
Club of Denver.
That's the altitude, huh?
5280. Thank you very much, Diane, for the question about men in motion and shifting before the ball is snapped. Back to the phone calls, Coach.
Let's go.
Let's talk to Eli from Sebastian. Go ahead, Eli. You're on the air with Jimbo. Eli.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, buddy. How are you doing?
Good. Do you think Josh Sweat will get more sacks against Syracuse?
I hope so. Josh played a really good game. He had a big one in that game that set him back. They were down there for a field goal, and he got a big sack. It got him out of field goal range, and he is getting better and better. This guy is one terrific football player. So, he's doing really well, playing really well, and I hope he gets a bunch of them this weekend.
All right, Eli, a young Seminole fan from Sebastian. Question: Josh had his first career sack and his first career interception in that game.
That interception's a heck of a play. You saw that athletic ability to jump and then play the ball. That was amazing. Yeah.
Okay, Eli, thanks for the call again. Karen is in Tallahassee. Go ahead, Karen. You're on the air with Jimbo.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Gene. First of
hello.
all, Gene, thanks for taking the time to have your picture made with we girls that were at the College Football Hall of Fame. That's a great facility.
Yeah,
we had a good time.
It's good seeing you up there.
And my question for Jimbo, the big screen, scoreboard screen, I guess it's the south end zone, when they flash that thing just on and off, saying get louder or make noise, whatever it was saying, is that distracting to the quarterback and to the offense when we had the ball?
I want to say yes, and some guys it can be, but if you're locked into the game, you don't pay attention to that stuff. Noise is at the level we play and the places we play and the environments we play is part of it. You learn to block that out, and you just need to move on. But to some guys it can be, and when you're trying to communicate, especially when the other team has the ball. That loud noise, it does keep communication down, which can really help.
The question about, we played Boston College, I want to say 6 years ago. EJ was our quarterback, maybe 4 years ago maybe. And we were played up, and they were flashing that thing, and it was distracting to me. And I asked him on the plane right home. He said, I didn't even notice it. Didn't even notice it.
You get locked in, like I say, see a little, see a lot, see a lot, see nothing, Jay.
I guess because we're up there in that press box level looking right at that thing, it flashed like a strobe light effect. More calls standing by, 1-877-99-KNOLS if you want to connect. We have an open line right now, so go ahead and dial it up, 1-877-996-6537. A reminder from Budweiser, great times are waiting. Designate a driver. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from the 4 Points by Sheraton, will continue after these messages.
You're watching the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. Have a question for the coach? Call 877-996-6537 now. That's 877-99-KNOLS.
Welcome back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. Glad you tuned in tonight on television in Tallahassee on WTXL, Channel 27, and on our radio network around the state of Florida. Also connecting via the internet on Seminoles.com. You just click that button. You can listen worldwide on the World Wide Web. Coach, ready for some more phone calls?
Let's go.
You have been signing a number of autographs this evening, huh? You're wearing out those pens.
I'm even spelling them right.
Crawdad is in Huntsville, Alabama. Go ahead, Crawdad. You're on the air with Jimbo.
Hey, good evening, Coach and James.
Hey, Crawdad, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great, Coach. Hey, I've got two thoughts for tonight. First, I understand all the talk about the many missed opportunities last Saturday, but I want to thank you for the tremendous winning streak that you put together, and it's been awesome winning 28 ACC games in a row, and I'm damn proud to be a Seminole, and you're our head coach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Crawdad. Thank you very much.
Okay, second, Coach, is, I know you're a baseball fan.
Yep.
So I want to use this analogy. We out-recruit and develop players better than just about every opponent we face. Mm-hmm. My question is why don't we speed up the offensive tempo just a little bit to give our guys more at-bats? I think maybe the increased tempo would help with the false starts and maybe ever get into a better rhythm. Thanks so much for everything you do, and go Noles.
You know something, I don't disagree with you, but right now sometimes with our depth and where we're at right now, we need to get a little more depth before we do it. And Now that the defense is actually got their feet on the ground and playing very well, because when you do go up tempo, the one thing you do, expose your defense. Because even if you score fast, you put them on the field a bunch, and you give the other team a lot of opportunities to do things too. But I don't disagree with you. In some areas, that there's a chance that we could do that, and we have done that. We've actually been a really good 2-minute team. If you saw in that game, we went down and scored 2 minutes before the half. We went 2 minutes back to get the field goal, to get in good situation. We've done it during the year. Before the half a couple times. We have become a good 2-minute team. So I don't disagree with you at times, and there may be a place for that.
All right. There's your answer, Crawdad. Thanks for your telephone call. Let's talk to Nick from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Nick. You're on the air.
Hi, Coach. How you doing?
All right, Nick.
I just had a question. How are the young guys' attitudes coming into practice on Monday after a tough loss? And not even the young guys, but the upperclassmen who aren't really accustomed to losing recently. I think their attitude this week in practice could really tell a lot about this team moving forward.
I don't disagree with you. Really, the upperclassmen were in a real good place, some of the 4th and 5th year guys. The thing I didn't really know, I like on offense, for instance, Sean McGuire and Mario Pender were the only 2 guys on offense that had ever lost a regular season game. Nobody else had ever lost a regular season game before. And your true juniors had never lost, some of the 4th and 5th year guys. But, I think some of the 4th and 5th year guys led in a very good way, and also let them know that, sometimes when you win so much, you got to appreciate winning, and you got to how hard it is and how tough it is and how even things like the other night can happen and how many times you keep that from not happening. And I think it opened some of our young guys' eyes that when you're you're not extremely detail oriented, and all the little things, they add up, and those everybody talks about that. I told you today, remember that speech any given Sunday when he's talking about the fighting for the inches, crawling for the inches, and all those inches add up at the end? That's what sports is about. There's 3 or 4 plays in that game, just inches away. But when you fight and scratch and claw, and sometimes when you don't get there, you say, well, it'll happen another way. No, it doesn't. You always got to fight and scratch and claw, and how hard it is to win consistently. And I think our young guys saw that. Hopefully they'll learn from it. And those older guys were pointing it out to them, not in a bad way, but just reminding them that, it wasn't always this way. We went through some tough times to get it here, and we got to get back. But our attitude, to answer your question, I've been very pleased with the attitude this week. The thing we got to do is just keep that attitude good so our confidence grows. Defensively, our confidence is really growing. Offensively, people didn't realize this. I told you this today. We were actually averaging more yards per game this year than we were last year going into that game. We were actually playing very well offensively and then stubbed our toe right there. But just got to get the details on, iron back out, and get right back in the groove and play very well. Because when these guys are locked in, we're a good football team.
All right, Nick, thanks for your call. Scranton, Pennsylvania, checking in tonight. Visit your neighborhood Winn-Dixie store for all your tailgating needs. Winn-Dixie is the official supermarket of the Florida State Seminoles. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from 4 Points by Sheridan in downtown Tallahassee, will continue after these messages.
You're watching the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show on WTXL ABC 27. Now, here's the voice of the Seminoles, Gene Deckerhoff, and head coach, Jimbo Fisher.
Back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. Great group of fans here tonight as we get ready for Parents Weekend. Florida State plays Syracuse. If you have not heard, the game kicks off at 12 noon. This, I know you know, Coach, but if you have not heard, the game will kick off at 12 noon on Saturday. It is Halloween, so you can trick or treat after the football game, okay? And we got some tricks and maybe some treats. No treats for Syracuse. We have a question from our studio audience, Coach. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. It's Beth from Tallahassee. First question is, how does it feel to be the winningest active coach in college football? How about that?
I tell you what, it doesn't feel that good right now. No, but I thank you for saying that. But when you're in the middle of it, you're just you got to get the next one. You got to find a way to get the next one.
Well, we're so proud.
Thank you very much.
And my next question is, or actually, I'd like you to comment on third down conversions on both sides of the ball.
Yep. Actually, we had done really well against Louisville, and we slipped up in this game, and most of them were in the red zone. We had the interception and we had to play. We had the other, we kicked a field goal, the one that, we had a good throw and catch, and Travis just backed up when he caught it instead of stepping up to catch it. We'd had a touchdown. Just some small things, but third down, we work third down, red zone. That's why I talk about situational football. You can move the ball up and down the field all day, but if you don't play red zone, third down, take care of the ball with turnovers, penalties, those types of things, situational football, you lose the game. You can play great in situations and average in the field and still win. And that's something we had been doing very well, but it's something we work on very hard. Third down on defense, most part, they did a good job for the night, but they got in a lot of 3rd and 3 to 4s, and they're hard to stop when they get to running game. But our defense did a good job for the night for the most part. But third down is a extremely critical thing. Matter of fact, that's what today was. Today was a red zone third down day solely, just on those two things. So hopefully we'll improve and get better.
All right, Beth, thanks for stepping forward and asking the question face-to-face with head coach Jimbo Fisher here at the 4 Points by Sheridan. Next up from the regular way, telephone call, 1-877-99-NOLE. Alex from Tallahassee, you're on the air with Jimbo. Go ahead. Alex?
Hello.
How you doing, Coach? How you doing, Gene?
Hey, Alex. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, alrighty. So here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's very obvious that simply winning games isn't enough to move up the ranks and move up the polls because FSU continues to win, and we all know that we don't get the respect we need. But my question is, now that we have moved down in the rankings after this game and we want to keep our chance of making the playoffs and the championship alive, how important is it that we not only beat the remaining opponents, but that we put up big points on the scoreboard? And also, just has your game plan changed going into these last few games, knowing that?
If I'd put all them points, I'd put all them points on them other folks if I could have. I promise you that. There wasn't no pulling off. I mean, but it's just you got to play to what your team is. But we want to win decisively. Winning decisively does create noise and buzz for the polls and the things that go on. And we've got some significant games coming up. But the first one is this week. And what you got to do is just play and win the games and get better each week. And those things work themselves out. But it does matter if you win significant. I don't disagree with you. And I think that's to a point a good thing and to a point a bad thing. I don't think that's what college football years ago was all about, but it's turning that way, and it's the reality of what it is.
All right, Alex, thanks for your telephone call. Those 9 to 6 games just don't happen every day, every Saturday now. It's a high-scoring thing. They're looking for points. Right. And, we want that scoreboard to spin around. Tony is in Tampa. Tony, you're on the air with Coach Fisher. Go ahead.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
I have a question. We seem to be kicking field goals a lot in the red zone. Can you explain the decision to do that?
Well, we didn't make it on the first 3. We ain't going to make it on the 4th one. No, I don't mean, but I mean, and you got a great field goal kicker, and you have to get points, and you have to get it up there. But it's really started. Louisville game, we were good. The Miami game, I went back and thought about it. As we evaluated everything we did. The Miami game, we had a play where Kermit, they said, had a catch, and they said he didn't. It was just an inch off throw. Then we had a ball actually where Dalvin dropped the ball in the flat. As great as he played in that game, he dropped the ball. He would have walked in. Then the next throw we threw high to Alden Tate, who was open, and then we had another one at the other end. Last week, we had the first play. We jumped back. He caught it, we just kind of jumped back instead of stepping up to catch the ball. Would have been a touchdown. The interception we threw on the back shoulder, if we throw in the front of it, it's wide open for a touchdown. It's just execution. But when you don't get there and you're 4th and 4, 4th and 7, 4th and 6, you got to take your points right there, because if you come out of there with no points, you talk about change the momentum of the game and generate that other team. And it's still points add up. That's the name of the game when you have to. We want a touchdown. We've been very good in the past years, right? Just these last 2 out of 3 games is where we've struggled in the red zone.
Okay,
scoring touchdowns.
Tony from Tampa, thanks for your question, your comment. Appreciate it. Call us again. We're here on Wednesday nights. The party is downtown on Friday night at Claiborne Plaza, preceding each FSU home football game. That means there will be a party this coming Friday night. The FRLA Friday night block party kicks off at 5 and is presented by the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, Tri-Eagle Sales, CenturyLink Prism, Visit Florida, and Kia Autosport. The Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show, live from 4 Points by Sheridan, will continue after these messages. Back to the Jimbo Fisher Call-In Show. It's amazing how quickly an hour goes by when we're talking football with head coach Jimbo Fisher and entertaining questions from our audience here and during the commercial break, signing an awful lot of autographs. And it's time to talk X's and O's, Coach. Syracuse comes to town. We're going to bounce back from last week's trip to Atlanta. We got Syracuse here at 12 noon kickoff. Yep. Keys to the game still protect the football and score points. Huh?
It is. Eliminate the penalty. There were too many self-inflicted wounds, and then we got to finish in the red zone and third down. We got to do a much better job there. And they're and then on offense, they have a big play. A big play receiver who does a great job getting the ball down the field. We've got to eliminate him from hitting those big plays. Our quarterback can run and make plays. They run that option. We've got to be disciplined in that. And defensively, they're a blitz team. They're tons of constant pressure, so we're going to have to identify the blitzers and make sure we're putting a hat on a hat. be able to run that football and you keep great balance.
One number that sort of jumps out of the stat sheet about Syracuse, Coach, they scored an awful lot of touchdowns on returns. They've had a fumble recovery return, 2 interception returns, a kickoff, a punt return.
Very good, and very good in special teams. Great dynamic returner, and then doing a good job holding guys up. And then the other thing on defense, all those blitzes. When you're blitzing, you're a pressure package team. You can create a lot of negative plays and big plays like that.
There are your keys to the game, X's and O's. We always save that for the last segment of our show. Before we got to have some Twitter questions here. Or we got a question right here in the audience. You're hiding the microphone for me. I thought you were just standing over there just watching the show. Go ahead, fire away.
Hey, Coach Gene. Congratulations, Gene, on 450.
Thanks.
Coach, the question I have is, it appeared in the game the other night, of course that's our latest benchmark, that do we have a triple option, a belly series that we can run in the red zone? It appeared the other night that a couple of times, even on the replay on Monday when I watched you on TV, that if the quarterback had pulled the ball out, he had to step into the end zone. Do we have something like that?
We do. We have a speed option, which we run against Miami. We scored, and all those plays he can pull on those gun runs, those zone reads. He can pull the ball and run it, or sometimes we'll have a pitch. But a lot of the option is when he's throwing the ball on those quick screens, that's like the same thing as a pitch, where he's got the option any time to throw it out there and pop it. But we don't run a true triple option as far as like you would see Georgia Tech do, but we do run where you read the dive, pull it, he can run it or pitch it or throw it. To me, he has 3 options on that play, but not like you would think like Oklahoma or one of those guys. If we did, that would take a lot. It's good, but then our passing games and things, you didn't have enough time to practice them.
All right, there's your answer. Thanks for
that's a good question.
saving that question for this segment.
Options deadly now. Option is a pain.
Before we get to this next Twitter question, I had a chance to meet tonight Coach family from Canada that came down, spent 2 weeks here. His son Jeremy, a graduate of Florida State University. Safe travels back to Winnipeg, right? To Calgary. Okay, I was close. Well, pretty close. But safe travels, and thanks for coming out this evening.
Just the other side of the country, but not a big deal.
4,000? Okay, difference between Winnipeg and Calgary. Thank you very much for coming down here tonight. Okay, okay. Here's in safe travels from WP Holland 10. Coach, did you watch the Bucks on Sunday? What are your thoughts on Jameis's progression this season, and how do you choose who needs you to who leads you out of the tunnel?
The same guys almost always do it every time the players do it. Trey used to do it. He's gotten too old for me anymore. But they kind of use the same guys do it. There's no one we let whoever wants to do it. And I did catch a little bit of Jameis, and I heard he played exceptionally well. Had a great game and had a chance. And I tell you, just give it time. Y'all almost say I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to be the guy who keeps bragging and does it. Just let it happen. It'll be fine. Yeah. And when it's all said and done, he'll be one heck of a football player in that league. He's doing very well. You see it getting better and better each week. Just adapts and adjusts his intelligence and the way he's playing. You get to call him all the time.
Yeah. Coach, on that note, and we didn't say a lot about it last week on the call-in show, but he spent 3 days in Tallahassee, had the open date, and he came down to the locker room, visited with the players, signed autographs, poster pictures. He represents Florida State.
He does. Night after the game, he come out the house, and we sit there and watch football for 4 hours. You're talking about a guy like that, and then one of the first texts I got after that game, one of the first picked me up, hey, don't worry, blah, 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 just talking. Jameis Winston. Me and him texting right after the game. He's still part of this team and this university big time, and he cares about what happens to these kids in this team.
Jameis, there's
Devontae too. Devontae was in that locker room.
Devontae.
Let me tell you something. Him and James Wilder was at that game. Y'all seen Wilder? How big how happy he was, and just cheering and getting the guys. How many of those old players I'm so proud of. Yeah. He's telling us to wind this thing up, but let's hold on. Hey, it's my show. I can do what I want to do. Leave me alone. I'll do what I want to do. Hold on. But James Wilder on that sideline and all these ex-players, they don't come back to be – they were coaching guys on the sideline, telling guys. They want to win. The legacy they left, they're proud of, and I'm so happy for all those guys having so much success. And there's a reason why they are, because of the kind of people they are.
That's our show for tonight.
That's it.
See
Bye.
Ya.